Well, hello, everybody. Oh, that was a weird little thing. Welcome to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. Julie says, I haven't decided what I want to plant this summer. Maybe I'll get ideas tonight. Woo-hoo-hoo. Ideas. It is that time of the year that either you've just started planting. If you're in the South, you probably planted for a while. But as you go up north, farther and farther and farther, a lot of us haven't planted yet, or we're just starting to plant. And so tonight I'm going to show you a few videos of what we have started already. We have lots of plants inside too, and a lot of them that I'm taking in and out each day because the nights are still, they're questionable if they would work or not. And Dale is here and Angie is here. Hello. How are you guys? So Joe and I have been just working since we've been home. Every time that it's a nice day, we've been trying to get outside, doing different things, checking things off of our list, because for us, that helps to get those things done in kind of an order so that it's not all of a sudden, oh, I should have planted that 2 weeks ago. Julie says, I'm harvesting all my cool crops. They'll come out soon. That's when we left Arizona. We dug up all of our brassicas that were left. Tomatoes, we dug up, things like that, because it was the end of the season. Serena, hello. How are ya? Good evening. So I thought I'd show you a few things. Now, it must have been about 5 years ago that I don't think it was that long ago. I think it was probably more 3.5, 4 years ago that we built compost bins. And look at here. Nancy is here and Todd Rainey is here. Hello. That's just awesome. And so we would just put in brown, green, leaves, branches, anything that we could have to go in that compost piles, because it just breaks down, of course. And so when we got back this time, we just decided that let's chop all the branches that haven't decomposed yet. And then let's use all that compost, because we decided to move 2 of our big raised beds. They're 6 feet by 4 feet, which doesn't sound that big, but they're about 3 feet tall. And so we had to move some compost. And Charmaine is here. Hello. Yay. Charmaine, I haven't seen you on live for a while. Yay. I'm so excited. So let's look at the compost bins. Now they're empty on this video. And they're about 4 or 5 feet square. And we had them way up there with a lot of stuff. And Joe just chopped them all up. And then we used the compost in when we moved those raised beds. Because if you built raised beds, you got to realize just how much stuff you have to fill it with. And so we did. We had a lot of branches that we hadn't chipped. So we put all those in the 2 bins first. Then I had these bags of, it was a topsoil that I had bought last year. They were horrible. It was horrible soil. In fact, it was basically sand. It said 40 pounds of topsoil. 30 pounds of that was water. And the rest of it was sand. Okay, maybe 2% was soil. But I was very disappointed. Let's see. Why should you be very discreet in a garden? Because corn has ears, potatoes have eyes, and beans talk. That is awesome. Yay. So then I had biochar. So then after that soil, I figured I put biochar down, and then we put leaves, and then we went to do the compost. And let me find that one. This is our compost. Well, first, here's some of the wood chippings that you can see. Joe did a lot of wood chipping. And these are the 2 raised beds, 6 feet by 4 feet. And I think we ended up putting about 5-6 inches of compost on top there. Now it will settle down, it'll get rained on. Wednesday, we might have a little snow, but isn't that beautiful compost? Joe says, oh, look at all that dirt. I said, Joe, it is not dirt. It is compost. There is a difference. But I need it to warm up a little bit. And because I'm going to add some tomatoes in there, and I wanted some leafy things. So probably I'll put some different lettuces, things that I can actually chop and drop, because my hydroponics, which is over that way, I haven't planted yet. So I'm going to grow a lot of the lettuce that we're going to eat this summer in that. And so I'm going to plant that lettuce around the perimeter of those big raised beds. One, the root system won't go that far down, and I can just continually chop and drop. And because I want that to get richer and richer and richer. Todd says, I did my vegetable raised beds. It took a ton of dirt to build it. I planted tomatoes, eggplant, zucchinis, red peppers. Yum. It's just like so amazing. So before we decided to use all of the compost, because I had planned to put it around different places, because I thought that one bin, that compost must have been 3 feet tall. It was a huge amount of compost. But we went and I was pricing dirt, garden soil, actual garden soil. The prices have gone crazy this year. It would have just been not even economical for me to buy the bags, because how much food could I get out of there to pay for what those cost me? It was just like, I can't do it. So we used all of the compost. But that's okay. It'll grow great tomatoes, and the lettuce will be great, and the other things that I grow in there. I'm going to try to, other than the tomatoes, to plant only things that have fairly shallow roots, because for the most part, other than the tomatoes, it's just going to be chop and drop. I just want to build those up more. But where our 2 raised beds were, we spread out all of that soil, and we planted brassicas and Swiss chard. And so let me grab that video. So I'm just walking. You can see some of my apple trees are starting to leaf out. I'm going to have to take a rake so I can get the rest of those leaves out of my strawberry patch. The daylilies are starting to come up. But this is the area that these 2 raised beds were in. And so I just spread that out, and we did a whole row of Swiss chard, and then we have broccolis, cabbages, and red cabbages. And I haven't put any mulch on it yet, just because it's a little too cold for us to put mulch around our vegetables yet, because one of the things that happen if you put the mulch too soon, it will actually stunt the growth of your vegetables, because the mulch holds that temperature in the soil down too much. And so you really got to have your soil at 55 to 70 degrees. Really, I would rather have it 65 to 70 degrees before I ever put mulch around my vegetables. Now, will you have to pull weeds sometimes? Yes. That's just the facts of life. You're just going to have to pull weeds. Oh, look at here. Kodiak Farm Bees. Hi, Lee. How are ya? Charmaine says that I've gotten bagged stuff from bagged soil. Oh, probably bad stuff from bagged soil. I think it was 5 years ago. Monsanto bought 51% or so of Miracle Grow, that company. And about 5 years ago, it started to go downhill. Way too much bark, way too much crap in the bagged soil. Last year, one of my friends, I have to tell you, this will probably just drive people, just give them the willy-nillies. They bought Miracle Grow stuff. And they just put it in their shed because they weren't going to put the stuff on quite yet. She went to open it, and it literally had hundreds of black widow spiders that came out. She said it was the worst experience ever. So then the black widow spiders are in her shed. So she's calling the bug and pest place in town, and they're going like, yeah, there's not really stuff to kill those black widow spiders. You could put some bombs in there, might stop some of it. It's a bad deal. EBGBs, I tell ya. Oh, look I put coreopsis seeds on top of the soil in my raised beds and watered them since they are tiny. Don't know if I should have covered them or not. Well, really probably just the watering process will pull some of them down into the soil too. But they'll work, because coreopsis, depending on where you live, will come back from seed anyway, or they'll come back as a perennial. But I do like coreopsis. And so you'll have to let us know, but I bet you will have beautiful flowers. So that's what we've been doing. Now, also, besides this stuff, I started planting outside. I planted a whole bunch of onions. I did a little clip of that. And on the regular channel. Oh, Teresa's here too. Hey, Teresa. How are you? So around my side deck, I have all these great big planters that sit on the railing. And I've had them there for, I don't know, 10 years. And I've grown flowers and strawberries and cucumbers so that they would trail down. I've grown all kinds of stuff. But this year, I am growing onions in those. And so we'll see how that goes. I do usually water at least once a day. We have an umbrella that shades it for part of the day, so it's not too baking, with the sun if the sun is really hot. And then I got these great big orange tubs. And they were for, I don't know, cowlicks or something. And they were free at the recycle place. And so I planted 2 full ones of those with just onions. They look pretty good, actually. You can see some growth going up on there. And those are sterling onions, which are a white one that I've grown many times. They get about the size of a softball. And Highlander, which is a yellow one. And then, of course, I'm growing the Walla Wallas with the Vineyard Chicks Survival Seed Challenge. And so those I'll be planting at the community garden. Now, I did bring back some plants from Arizona that were pretty shaded. They were onions and garlics that never really grew very, very much. Not like the rest of them. They didn't bulb up or anything. And so I just dug them up, and I am going to literally just plant them over at the community garden. Now, I was going to plant them tomorrow, but since Wednesday, it's going to be colder. It keeps going back and forth. Sometimes it says that we're have a chance of snow. Sometimes it says we are not going to have a chance of snow. So I figured I would wait till Thursday to plant those. My tomatoes, not going to plant yet. I did put hoops over top of the 2 big raised beds, and I could put plastic on there and just take it off during the day, and then put it back on at night, and the tomatoes would be okay. Anne says, my Walla Wallas are struggling, but I have others that are doing well. I have to tell you that, honestly, we got 20 seeds of the Walla Wallas from the Vineyard Chicks. 10 of them germinated, but they are very tiny. And so we'll just have to see. May 4th is Star Wars Day and World Naked Gardening Day. Do anyone doing anything to celebrate either of these? Well, for me, no, because I'm way too old to be naked gardening. Love the Land Homestead. Hello, welcome. Yay. Anne says, yes, we will have to see. And that's what I'm waiting for, a video from you. Yeah. That is crazy talk. Don't you see pictures every single year of people that do videos, they do photos on Naked Gardening Day. And who thought of that? Seriously, who was sitting around one day and go, let's make a national holiday and be naked when we're gardening one day, because we won't get dirt all over the place or anything. Oh, and Madeline is here. Hey, girl, how are you? Yay. I hope your husband is doing better. And also, one other little side note. Anne says, I do have some friends that completely stripped for Naked Gardening Day. Anne and her husband just celebrated 45 years of being married. So congratulations, Ann Dale. That is a great achievement. And Madeline says her husband is doing better. Yay. I'm glad. Anne is here. Little Frenchie in Big Texas. How was the flooding in Texas? So I saw Jake's videos, and that water was just swirling, literally swirling, trying to get down those culverts. That was crazy. Charmaine says it had to be a hippie thing. Well, maybe. I don't know. But it's still funny. You know, even if you don't do Naked Gardening Day, it's still funny, the whole idea of it. And it's like, I don't want to see it. And Xander is here. Hello. How are you? Oh, Angie says might be joining our farmer's market. Yay. That would be very exciting, Ange. Just things are happening. I don't know if I can say any more than that, Ange, because you're going to have to write it in the chat box if you want other people to know, because I don't want to overstep. Ann Dale says hi to the other Ann with an E. I like it. Oh, Ann says the rain up north was crazy and very localized. Nothing 20 miles away from at the ranch. The video was from our RV park. Oh, it was crazy amount of water. I thought it's a good thing people didn't get trapped in that water, because it was zooming. Todd says it's a hippie thing too. Well, it could be. You know, it's, I don't know. You can probably Google and we'll tell you how days like that got set up. But you can Google any day, 365 days a year, and it will, there's just like stacks of days. You know, it's national this day and local this day, and it's just, you can celebrate every single day of the year if you wanted to. Now, one of the things that I'm doing inside is I bought this little humidity dome. It's like a germination dome on Marketplace on Facebook. And the little gal that I bought it from, it was just so funny, because she says to me, I am at her apartment. I told her I'd buy it from her. And she goes, and we weren't going to grow pot in it either. And I thought, why would I ever think that you were going to grow pot in that humidity dome? But I don't know why she thought she had to tell me those things. But it is so good. So I planted Dr. White Cheese. I think that's how you say it. Giant yellow tomatoes. And then I did popcorn plants, because I grow those down in Arizona. And I wanted to start some to have at the markets or just to sell on Facebook and stuff. And so this is what it looks like. Okay, so I have both layers on now, because the plants have started getting too tall and they're starting to get their true leaves on there. So on the right side where all the little tomatoes, those are popcorn plants. Those are my struggling onions, Anne. You know, they're literally struggling. I'm disappointed, really. 20 seeds is not a lot of seeds, because you got to figure a lot of times half of them don't even germinate. So but that's just the way it is. But on the other side, you can see those four, but on the other side were the same types of tomatoes as that were in the the humidity dome. And the humidity dome ones are just way ahead, and they're both on heat mats. So that's interesting to me. Oh, your sister lives in Sulphur, Oklahoma. I saw some of the, let me take that down. I saw some of the video. It was just like unbelievable. It was just like, wow. And her house was not hit. We had a tornado on the west side of town I live in, and sirens went off, but our house was not hit. I'm so glad about that. It's devastating. That tornado alley, that section in Oklahoma, and they just get so many. But that poor town, I'm very glad that she's okay, though. Wow. Anne says, mine look exactly like that. Now, Anne, I have to tell you, I wanted Walla Walla onions, and I'm going to nurture them, and they could turn out spectacular, but I ordered some Walla Walla onions too. I got them today. That's much better looking. So I'm going to grow these too, but I am going to put those in the ground. I'll wait a little bit till they get a little bit bigger. Oh, Charmaine has done some research for us. Xander says my seedlings look more like those sitting there on the side, long and browned. Yeah, I like the humidity dome. Charmaine says that 2005 World Naked Gardening Day was established. So now we know the rest of the story. And Xander says it's still too cold here to do World Naked Gardening Day. It could be cold at my house too. I think today, well, right now it's 49 degrees. But this, it rained a couple times, but it was okay. But look what else happened today. Okay. I'm not going to show you my regular address. Okay. This was in my mailbox, received without contents. And look at this. Somebody literally cut that. It's not a rip. It's literally a cut, like a knife cut. In here was pectin, $61 worth of pectin. But Amazon, I wrote to them. I told them what happened. I told them that the post office had stamped that, and they graciously refunded my money because it was a non-refundable, no return item. So that I was so excited about. Oh my gosh, look who's here. That's right, the Vineyard Chicks. And we were just talking about you and the onions. So, because, and my tomatoes are up that you sent me. My peppers are up, but the peppers only came up yesterday. They took a long time to come up, but they look good. So we'll just keep working away with that. And the other stuff, I'm going to actually plant in the ground, like beets. I'm going to plant in the ground. The beans, I'm going to plant right in the ground. So I'm totally excited about that because the Vineyard Chicks are with Jesse and Lisa. There's somebody else. I'm sorry. You Vineyard Chicks, type in all three of you guys that are sponsoring survival seeds. I'm sorry. I should remember that, but I don't have that right next to me. So I can't tell everybody. And look see, everybody knows the Vineyard Chicks. Hi. Yay. Oh, that's right. Bushcraft Family. That is the other person that's doing it. Yay. So it's very exciting. They sent us 6 packs of seeds. So I started the onions, the tomatoes, and the peppers. And So the idea is all of us from all over places in the country are growing them. And then we'll see what kind of harvest we get from them. So I'm excited. So can't grow potatoes or onions together because the onions will get the potato eyes and make them cry. You are good with the jokes tonight. I like vegetable jokes. It's totally fun. So this past week I grafted 85 apple trees. My brother grafted 15 apple trees. He did a whole thing on he has this Facebook page. It's called Backyards of Rapid City, Rapid City, South Dakota. And so he talked about them, and he talked about that I had done 85 of them. And so they are literally in 5-gallon buckets in my bathroom across the hall in the bathtub, because they have to harden off. Well, it's not hardening off, it's callousing where that graft is together. You kind of want it to just callus there, even though it's wrapped, because you're going to put it outside and it's wind and it's birds and it's people bumping into them and things might fall on them, branches could fall, whatever. And so you callus them off, and then I'm going to plant them. Actually, I do have what I call the nursery bed, and I have ones from last year out there in the ground. But most of these ones I'm actually going to put in gallon and 2-gallon pots, and I'm going to put them by my greenhouse. And so then I will just let them grow, and hopefully some of them I'm going to plant because I don't have those varieties, and the rest of them I'm going to sell. So I have a nursery license, and so I can sell in Wyoming. And I think grafting is a great skill. Last year I did a video on grafting, and I used my knife. I did a tongue and groove. This time, there's a lot of people that are new at grafting, and tongue and groove is difficult for some people. And so I showed them different tools. Like this is the tool I used to do the 85 of them. It's a massive tool, isn't it? But it makes, when you squeeze it down, see, it makes this V. And so you put the rootstock in from the left side. You put the scion in from the right side, one at a time, not at the same time. And when you press it down, it makes this perfect V. I don't know if I can get the angle right so you can see that. See that V in there? So then they fit tight together. And luckily for me, my rootstock and scions were basically the same size. If they're not, you just have to adjust it to one size. And then I wrap them up with tape. It's like I'll show you what it is. It's this tape like this. It's very stretchy. Watch that. Is that stretchy or what? Anyway, so you can wrap it up, and so it doesn't let any air in. Now at that point, I could just put beeswax over top of it, and I've done that different years. But I actually put, let me grab these. You guys probably know what these are. I don't know what they're called. If you were getting your blood drawn, they would wrap this around your arm. I usually cut them in half, and sometimes I'll even cut them lengthwise so I could get 4 bands out of one. And then I wrap it around and I tie a knot, and it just really holds it. I walked around and looked at all my apple trees. There was only a couple of them that the scion had broken off of from last year. I just figured that is probably, it could have been the snow. It could have been winds, or a bird landed on it and it just wasn't secure enough and it hadn't calloused over enough last summer. Who knows what reason. It just didn't work. And sorry, I'm way behind, so I'm sure I missed all kinds of stuff. 600 jokes and riddles. I was voted the funniest girl in my senior class. That is awesome. It is another work for the garden. I just put out a video last night. And it was the 4-letter word in gardening, in homesteading. And it all comes down to, you got to do the work. You know how many times people have said to me, how do I get rid of all these weeds? You know, they know I'm a master gardener. How do I get rid of all these weeds? And it's just like, you pull them, you mulch stuff, you plant perennials that will make it so that there's no sunlight coming to where those weeds are growing. But for the most part, you do the work. And I just shake my head because they want some fast, quick solution. And that's not what life is, especially on a homestead. It is just not what it is. And it's just one of those things. So work can be a 4-letter word. I know it. You see that in all aspects of our lives. But when it comes to gardening, when it comes to homesteading, you just can't get around it. If you want to be successful, you have to do the work. So if you haven't seen that video that came out last night, watch it afterwards. It is, I think it's good. And it's just like when I'm going to pull this back up. Joe did all the work and chopped all those branches. I mean, you would have not believed the size piles of branches, because Joe cut those choke cherries down to about 3.5 feet, and they were almost 20 feet high. It is a lot of chopping, but look at all that great compost that we made in our compost bins that can grow vegetables for us. But if we did not go through the work, we would have never got that done. And Vineyard Chicks want to know, let me pull this down. What month do you not mow? May. It's no mow May. And the first couple of years, Joe was just like in a frantic, the weeds, especially on the back hill in the food forest, would get tall. And I say, you don't need to mow. All of the clover, the dandelions, all those different things, the bugs need those. The pollinators need those. So just don't mow then. Oh, good. Angie says, I started a new business and had to get all my social bite nerds. It's going to be good. Angie's a little entrepreneur. It's fabulous. How do treasure hunters use peppers in their hunting? They look for a place where pepper marks the spot. There's a pepper called Pepper X, invented by Ed Curry. Hot or not hot? That would be interesting. Dad is ahead. He has not mowed the yard, and it's getting tall. I tell him it's okay not to mow. It is. It's really, it does a lot of different things. If you have fruit trees and you let that, all of the grass, the weeds and stuff grow for a while around your fruit trees, it makes it so later on in the summer when you mow, you will not have some of the pests and diseases that you would have had in those fruit trees, which you would think that doesn't work that way, but it does work that way. And Sandra says, I mow 2 times a month. The longer we're in our house, the less and less grass we have. I told Joe, eventually we won't have grass at all. We'll have some pathways and everything else will be flowers and perennials and trees and shrubs, and you'll never have to mow again. Because eventually, even in the food forest on the hill, the trees will make canopies. Then you have your understories, and then you'll have your low growing, vegetables and fruits, and you'll never have to mow again. He likes that idea. Vineyard Chick's dad says he has to mow between the grapes or they will get mold and mildew. That could be true. Where I have my grapes, there isn't grass there. I do have some perennials by there, but no grasses. And so that could be right. And you are much more humidity than we have. Arizona is very much drier. That's right, Madeline. Lucky Joe. And it's No Mo Joe. I'm going to tell him that. But I'm past my 30 minutes. And what I do today? Well, I dropped off all my art for the art show this weekend. Totally excited. One piece was not dry, but they're letting me bring that tomorrow. It's very abstract, and some of the paint was very thick, and that's why it's not done. Then I bought 2 turkeys. Now, you don't really think about turkeys right this time of year, but one of our stores, $40 turkeys were $8 and some cents. And so I bought 2 of them. So I smoked one yesterday, and then I cooked it early this morning. And while that one was cooking, I smoked the other one, and then that one is actually ready in my oven, and my potatoes are ready. And so Joe and I are going to have some mashed potatoes and turkey, and I'm going to make turkey broth this week, and I'm going to make turkey soup, and I'll do some videos with that, and it'll be fabulous. Tomorrow, I start classes with Mary. We paint on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We were going to start last week, but she was having a little issue with her knee, and so we are painting. I don't know if you can really tell. It's actually a little parakeet by a little charm. She found the picture somewhere. And so I draw 2 of them, and we look at the original photograph, and we just go through and we paint it. And so I'm totally excited about that. Madeline says, my favorite meal is turkey. Mine too, I tell ya. Todd Rainey says, I followed you, Bite Nerd, on Facebook. Freeze-dried candy, yummy. Yes. Yay. Totally excited for her. But everybody, have a great night. I hope you're gardening. I hope you garden something different this year that you haven't ever grown before. It's always fun to try something that you don't know if it'll work or won't work. It's just fun. So I got to go. Tomorrow, the video that's up is on my hot jams. Peach habanero, raspberry jalapeno, and a fruit melody jalapeno. So that's what's coming up tomorrow. So everybody, yay, yay, yay. See you later. It has been a great night, and I'm 8 minutes past. Whew. Don't forget, the Vineyard Chicks are up in about 20 minutes. Everybody have a great night. Thank you.